now we are going to discuss what is the terminal depreciation and balancing charge under PGBP chapter. But before that, allow me to finish 3 more points that I left from actual cost discussion. So this point you already know, interest on loan prior to date of put to use is a capital in nature. This nature is a capital, this interest is a capital in nature, and this is written in ICDS 9. Okay, ICDS 9. So what will happen? Capitalization to the actual cost. Capital nature interest should be capitalized to the actual cost, and revenue nature interest should be charged to the PNL, or you should get the depreciation under section 36 subsection 1. That is post post put to use. This is prior to put to use. Excise duty, GST on which input tax credit is available should not form part of actual cost. If it is there, then you should reduce it from the actual cost. Subsidy and grant received from government or reimbursement given by any other party should be reduced from the actual cost. This point we had already discussed through the example, but just wanted to have overall look on this. The focus here is on the part A of point number 8 of depreciation, which is the sale of asset under individual asset system. An individual asset system, if you can remember, is available as an option only to power units, power generation and distribution utilities or companies in India. They are having option to follow this. Technically, majority of them have not adopted this method. So they also follow WDV method, but it's a part of the syllabus. So just let's finish this discussion very quickly. You know this through your accounts. Whatever happens in accounts during the sale of the asset, all those journal entries and the impact of the impact on the WDV, and you compare your selling price with WDV and you determine profit and loss on sale of asset. Same thing we are going to do here with some changes with the terms that we use while solving the question. So profit and loss shall be computed on each and every sale separately under this method. Under the method under SLM method, you should compute sale on each and every sale. This is what you do in accounts as well. Okay, in accounts, whenever you get in final accounts, technically whenever you get adjustment of sale of asset, you provide depreciation on that, and then you provide sale and profit on sale of the asset entry on those assets. I know that. We will just have a look at this very easy example. Original cost of particular asset is 100. You have used this asset for 2 years, and depreciation should be charged at the rate of 10% by SLM method. Okay, and the selling price is 75. Now you know what to do it. Okay, original cost is 100 rupees. You have to provide depreciation for 2 years, and under SLM method, depreciation shall remain constant for throughout the year. So here it is 10 rupees first year, 10 rupees second year. So the depreciation that we provided is 20. So WDV that we got is 80 rupees, and now you are selling that particular asset for 75 rupees. Okay, 80 rupees worth asset sold for 75 rupees. So your selling price is less than WDV. So you will book 5 rupees as a loss on sale entry. That loss in accounts known here as a terminal depreciation. So why do we call it as a terminal depreciation? Please understand. Okay. So what has happened here is this: in year 1, okay, you claim depreciation 10 rupees. Year 2, you claim depreciation another 10 rupees. Year 3, okay, you are booking loss on sale of asset 5 rupees. Loss on sale of asset 5 rupees to your P&L account debit side. Okay, how this happens usually? So you know the journal entry for sale of asset, bank account debit 75 rupees, loss on sale of asset debit, this account is a loss account, so 5 rupees, and to asset 80 rupees. And because this is a nominal account, we have to write it off against the profit and loss account of that year. So profit and loss account debit to loss on sale of asset. This is the transfer entry that we pass. Yeah, this is the transfer entry that we pass. Because of that, your P&L account will take hit of 5 rupees. Now you tell me, friends, whenever I say your profit and loss account, your profit and loss account should consist revenue transaction or capital nature transaction. I hope you remember distinguish between revenue nature transaction and capital nature transaction. Revenue nature transactions are recurring in nature, whereas capital nature transactions are non-recurring in nature. Revenue nature transaction usually in a smaller amounts, capital nature transactions are usually in a larger amounts. Revenue nature transactions we record in the profit and loss account, whereas the capital nature transactions we record in the balance sheet. So this is what something you should know about, basics about differentiation between revenue transaction and capital nature transaction. So in profit and loss account usually we record what? So revenue nature transaction. So this loss on sale of fixed asset is a revenue loss or capital loss. You think about it and tell me, okay? So what was your answer? Come on, tell me, is it a capital nature loss or is it a revenue nature loss? So some of you might think it is a capital nature loss, and if you are saying it is a capital nature loss, then how come you debited it to the profit and loss account? See, problem in accounts with an income tax is this: in accounts you don't have heads of income, and in income tax we are having heads of income. If you call this particular loss as a capital nature loss, then we must take care of this loss in a capital gain chapter, not in the PGBP chapter. I hope you understand this much. Okay, if you call this as a capital nature loss, then it should have been transferred to capital gain chapter, not under PGBP chapter. But we are talking about terminal depreciation in PGBP chapter, and this is allowed as a deduction under PGBP with the name of terminal depreciation. Terminal depreciation. So let me tell you one thing for sure, this is not a capital nature loss, this is a revenue nature loss only. Why? Because this is a kind of rectification entry. See what happened, you thought your asset is getting depreciated at the rate of 10 rupees per annum. So you depreciated your asset in the year 1 for 10 rupees, year 2 for 10 rupees, and year 3 when you took this asset to the market, you thought you could fetch 80 rupees, which is the WDV of your asset, but you actually realize only 75 rupees. That means your rate of depreciation should have been higher than what you had already provided, and your depreciation was the 25 rupees. The real depreciation was the 25 rupees, but you have provided only 10 rupees and 10 rupees in past. So to rectify that, you will provide additional depreciation, and this 5 rupees is not a loss on sale of asset. Technically this is depreciation that you did not claim in last 2 years. Now you had option either to go and revise the last 2 years financial statement, which is very hectic job. So government have provided you the alternative way. You can claim that 5 rupees in current year under the name of loss on sale of asset in accounts, whereas in income tax it is known as depreciation on termination, and therefore the name given to this concept is the terminal depreciation, which is allowed as a deduction in the year of sale of asset below the WDV of that particular asset. Okay, look at the case law 2. Original cost of the asset is 100 rupees, used for 2 years, okay, and selling price is 95. Now you are matured enough, you can tell me this asset is sold at a profit or loss. Obviously according to you it is a profit, but if you ask a normal person, sir, I bought asset for 100 rupees, I use it for 2 years and then I am selling it for the 95 rupees, am I in a profit or loss? So any ordinary person who is not from the accounting background, he will say, beta, there is a loss of 5 rupees, but you will try to explain it, no, there is no loss of 5 rupees, there is actually a profit of 15 rupees, and then they may challenge your mental health. Okay, so this is happening because of the depreciation concept. So look at what do we do in accounts. 100 rupees is your original cost, depreciation for 2 years is 20 rupees. So your WDV becomes 80 rupees. From your WDV you will compare a selling price of 95. Because selling price is higher than WDV, you will call it as a profit on sale of asset. The profit on sale of asset, this 15 rupees, is known as a balancing charge under section 41, which is a deemed income under PGBP. So this is the deemed income. Okay, deemed income of the current year. This is not a real income, this is a deemed income of a current year when you have sold the asset beyond original cost, beyond your WDV, okay, but below original cost. So what would be the journal entry? Bank account debit 95 rupees, to asset account 80 rupees, to profit and sale of asset is 15 rupees, and this has to be transferred to P&L account. So you will transfer this profit and sale of asset account debit to profit and loss account 15 rupees. This is a transfer entry, and now your profit and loss account will be showing the transaction in this manner. Year 1 you claim depreciation of 10 rupees, year 2 you claim depreciation of another 10 rupees, and year 3 Instead of claiming depreciation, you are saying there is a profit on sale of asset of 15 rupees. Okay, why this has happened? If this is the capital profit, then it should have been taxed under the capital gain chapter, but we are taxing that under the PGBP chapter. So why are we charging this to PGBP chapter? Again, my question is same. Do you think this is the capital nature profit or revenue nature profit? So this is a revenue nature profit, not a capital nature profit. Why? Because again, look at the transaction from the beginning. You bought asset for 100 rupees. You thought its value is 80 rupees, but you got from market is 95 rupees. Because you thought its value has been depreciated by 20 rupees in last 2 years, you had provided 10 rupees and 10 rupee depreciation. But when you went to the market, surprisingly, you got 95 rupees, which is beyond your expectation. That means your asset was not depreciated by 20 rupees, your asset was depreciated only by 5 rupees, but you had claimed excess depreciation in last 2 years. Now we have to provide a rectification entry in the current year for reversing the depreciation which was not supposed to be claimed but already claimed. So 20 rupee depreciation was claimed by the assessee, whereas the real depreciation was 5. So 15 rupees excess depreciation, balance depreciation that you have claimed should be reversed. So this is a reversal entry of the excess depreciation, which is known as the balancing charge. Charge means taxable. Okay, balancing amount of depreciation which you have claimed excess in the previous year, we are taxing in the current year. Obviously, deduction you have claimed in the PGBP chapter, this deduction also you have claimed in the PGBP chapter. Therefore, the reversal should also happen in the PGBP chapter and not in the capital gain chapter. This is the logic behind this section 41. Next one is little weird transaction, or only a smart student know about this entry which happens in accounts. Okay, so here original cost is 100 rupees. You are using this asset for 2 years at a you will depreciate at a rate of 10%, and selling price is 125. If you can observe here itself, something weird is happening. You have purchased the asset for 100 rupees, you had used it for 2 years, and now you are able to sell it at 125. That means beyond original cost. This you are selling beyond original cost. If you remember some of your memories of foundation year, in foundation your account teacher must have taught you any profit derived by the person by selling asset beyond original cost is not revenue nature, is a capital nature profit, and we cannot transfer it to P&L account. This is what something you should know. Okay, this is my assumption that you already know this transaction. Okay, how this happens? 100 rupees is original cost, depreciation for 2 years is 20 rupees, WDV was 80 rupees, you are expecting 80 rupees value from the asset, but in market you got 125 rupees. Sir, in what type of asset this happened? Is it realistic or unrealistic example? Obviously this is a realistic example. One of the asset that you all observe is building. So building is a depreciable asset, but in market actually value of buildings are going up. Technically only land is an anti-depreciable asset, you understand. So land is the only exception to the concept of depreciation, but because of rising demand for buildings in cities like Mumbai, Pune, Cochin, Ahmedabad, you understand. So this type of cities, even though building is older, the older building is selling at higher price. So in Mumbai, some of the people who have purchased asset for the building for 10 lakh to 15 lakh rupees 20 years back, they are able to sell the same building now for 1 crore, 1.5 crore, though the building is almost depreciated for by 20 years, but still they are able to fetch a very good amount of money, and therefore this concept exists even in reality. This can happen also with antique vehicles, antique motorbikes, antique gadgets. Okay, so antique goods can be also sold at higher value than its WDV value. Okay. So this profit, what should be the journal entry? First of all, case 2 and case 3 is a different case study. Okay, so bank account debit 125, to asset account credit 80 rupees, to profit on sale of asset is 45, but this 45 rupees you cannot transfer to P&L account, you have to divide it between P&L account and capital reserve. So selling price beyond original cost is a capital profit. Selling price beyond original cost is a capital profit. Therefore, look at the transaction. Profit on sale of asset is 45 rupees, to capital reserve 25 rupees, with the 25 rupees is 125 minus 100. Okay, value beyond original cost, and P&L account that is up to original cost, profit up to original cost, that is 80 minus 100 will be revenue profit, because what has happened here is, again I am telling you with the basic example, year 1 you have claimed depreciation of 10 rupees, year 2 you have claimed depreciation of another 10 rupees, and year 3, okay, year 3, now you tell me you sold asset for 125 rupees and you are having profit of 45 rupees. You cannot credit for 45 rupees to your P&L account. Why? Because the rectification entry can happen only to the extent of 20 rupees. Till now you have claimed only 20 rupees as a depreciation. So under PGBP chapter, this was under PGBP, this was also under PGBP. So PGBP chapter has given you deduction of 20 rupees in last 2 years. So rectification cannot happen to the extent of 45 rupees. Rectification can happen in PGBP only to the extent of 20 rupees. Beyond 20 rupees, whatever profit you are getting, that is of 25 rupees, is a capital gain, is a capital profit covered by section 50A under capital gain chapter. So this P&L account, this profit here, okay, this profit here, this profit here is a taxable under section 41 as a balancing charge. Okay, this is taxable as a balancing charge. It's a deemed PGBP income. Okay, and this 25 rupees is a taxable under section 50 capital A as a capital gain, as capital gain. Okay, this is what is written here. Long term and short term depends on life of the asset. So this kind of discussion you need to know about SLM method. Unfortunately, SLM method comes in examination very rarely, because very few assessees are following it, that too power generating unit. Therefore, this discussion is not of that much use, but you need to know what is balancing charge and terminal depreciation in your income tax, which can be asked in multiple choice question. Yes friends, thank you.